What you doing?
What you doing?
Building an entry-level budget PC.
Can I watch?
Yeah.
What's this one?
This is a PC case from Deepcool. It's called a Deepcool McCube 310, and I'm gonna open it up.
I can help.
Flip it around.
Which way is around?
We do this way.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Ooh.
Wait.
Ta-da! So you have your case. What else do we need?
So today's budget PC, we have a Ryzen 3 1200. Gonna pair it with a GTX 1660 Super. Perfect pair for 1080p gaming. And then we're also gonna be doing 8GB of RAM and also 256 GB of storage on this MSI B450 micro ATX motherboard. And then we're also gonna be doing the 500 watt 80 plus white power supply from Thermaltake.
So you're saying it's a super ultra budget PC.
Yeah.
Okay. What's step one?
Step one, we're gonna remove the glass cover and the back plate. And then we're just gonna set this aside, and then we will install the CPU onto the motherboard, as well as the SSD storage and the RAM. And then,
That's more than step one, baby.
so we're just gonna start by installing the CPU onto the motherboard first.
Okay, so it sounds like this one is in the way.
All right, so we got the motherboard here. First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna put the CPU into the CPU socket.
Ooh.
Pull the lever.
Lever.
All right, now we're gonna match the little triangle over here.
Little triangle.
Little triangle, we gotta match it. And then we just put it in, push down the lever. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna install the 8GB of RAM from Alloy on the first slot. First slot, second slot, but first slot. Ta-da.
So the first one is always the one closest to the CPU.
Slide it in just like that. Click, click. Then we're gonna do the M.2 SSD mount. This thing's supposed to be here. So we're gonna move this one over to here, and then we're gonna mount the SSD.
It's just a baby.
So this one is 256 GB of M.2 storage. I know it's not a lot, but for a budget build like this, it's good enough. Where did the screw go? So now we're gonna remove all 4 of these screws, mount the CPU cooler onto the motherboard.
How come you don't put thermal paste on this one?
For all the stock cooler, it already comes with pre-applied thermal paste. The stock thermal paste is enough for this build. It's not necessary to put.
Why do you have to
I don't know.
For this build, that won't be necessary. Period.
For this build, it won't be necessary to put.
No! Stop!
Okay. It already comes with 3 applied thermal paste, so it's not necessary for this build.
3 applied.
3 apply?
Yeah.
Pre-applied.
You said 3 applied.
It already comes with pre-applied thermal paste, so we don't
Thermal
need to.
paste.
It's not necessary to put additional thermal paste. And then we're gonna plug in the CPU fan cable. And now we're all done with the motherboard, CPU, RAM, and SSD.
Yeah.
So,
Where do we put this?
we're gonna put this into our PC case. So we're gonna bring that up over here.
Bye!
Go ahead and pop the back plate off.
Hi.
What you doing?
What you doing?
I'm gonna go ahead and set this one down so it's easier to put it in. Lay it down. So before we put the motherboard in, there is the I/O shoe for the motherboard. Remember to put this on, otherwise if you wait until you put in a motherboard and screw all the screws in, you're gonna have to undo all that and then put this one in first. Since this is a micro ATX motherboard, we're gonna have to remove these 2 standoffs and then put them on top over here, so the bottom of the motherboard has a support. Now that we moved the standoffs to the proper position, we can install the motherboard. slide it in just like that. Boom. Okay. Now that we've got the motherboard in, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna plug in some of the headers for the power, and then there is the HD audio cables. The HD audio header, and then there is the USB 3.0 header, and there is also a couple fan headers we're gonna plug in before we proceed with the power supply.
What do those all do?
I know the power switch will let you turn on your PC, but for the power LED and reset switch, I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's something to do with these two buttons over here.
So the power LED is actually this little LED indicator light that'll show you if your PC is on, or if it's booting, or if it's on standby. And yes, the reset button is this little guy.
Hey. Okay.
We have two fans. I see one fan header here on the left side, and the other.
There's only one here, right?
That's the only one I see.
This fan comes with the Molex 4-pin and also the fan header. So we can choose to use either one. There's only one over here, and then it would be like in a really awkward position. So I don't think we're gonna use the motherboard fan header at all. We're just gonna plug it into the Molex 4-pin on the power supply. All right, so now we're just gonna go ahead and put in the power supply. It is a little small though.
So much empty space.
Yeah, I remember when we got this case, it was like $42.39. It fits up to an ATX motherboard.
And it has a little GPU bracket. So supportive.
Yeah, GPU anti-sag bracket.
We don't like the sag. The power of the sun in the palm of my hands.
500 watt power supply should be sufficient to supply Ryzen 3 1200 and also the 1660 Super. You don't really need something too crazy, like even a 600 watt is a little overkill for this build. A little tight in here. Usually for power supply there are 4 screws here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Usually for most of our build we'll use the Asia Horse cable extension, but for entry build like this, we're on a budget, so we don't really have spare money to put in the cable extension. So sorry. We're gonna start with the CPU cable first. So it'll say CPU on the side. That's just gonna go into the header over here. Next, we're gonna do our motherboard cable. 24 pin. It's gonna come out from here. And we also have the Molex cable that I talked about earlier. This one is gonna go into both of these fans. So this is where the power comes from. That's why we're not using the fan header on the motherboard.
Behind the scenes shots.
Power supply is done. We're gonna do our GPU. Bentley. I wish my nail sounds as good as yours. For GPU, we're gonna have to remove this back cover. There is one screw that hold down this back cover. We're gonna remove this screw so this thing can just pop off. We're gonna remove these 2 brackets so the GPU can just slide it in like that. Now we're gonna get the second and the third one off.
Open sesame.
Last but not least, we're gonna plug in our PCIe 8-pin cable for the GPU, and it's gonna go right in here.
RGB.
You know what they call this?
What?
Ketchup and mustard cable.
Ketchup and mustard. I like mustard.
Do you like this mustard though?
No.
That's what I thought. I'm gonna zip tie this one later.
Bounce, 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 bounce it. Bounce it, bounce it, bounce it. Bounce it, bounce it, bounce it, bounce it.
Now that we plug in the 8-pin cable, it's time to do some cable management. And then I think we're almost ready to boot Windows. Just gonna grab some zip ties. Be back.
Well, where your mic? Mine's fine.
I got it.
Put your mic on.
POV. Wait, I need longer zip ties. I have more. What? I like
Just we get a chaotic. You can name this chaotic and chaotic super budget build.
Chaotic super budget build.
BTS chaotic super budget build.
Sounds good. Look at this one good benefit of micro ATX motherboard. You can put your hands through here. There's this big gap over here. Don't do it. Oh no, this is really ugly. I don't know what to do about it.
This one's gotta go up here. You gotta open it back up and put it here.
Wait, I think maybe we can split it into two. Just open this one. Because these two are combined. So maybe we should just split them. And then, because there's two Molex pins. So one's gonna come here, one's gonna go from here. And I can zip tie all this together. Yeah, so it goes like this. And then just gonna split them into two like that. Perfect. Cool. Oh, thank you. All right, now we're pretty much done. We're just gonna cut all this down and then put the back cover on, and then we're done with the cable management. I think we did a pretty good job. What do you guys think? At least the cable management looks good, right? Okay, let me grab the back panel. So one nice thing about this case is back panel and the front panel are both magnetic. Check this out. Just like that.
Again.
Again? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Normally for our PC, we'll know it's turned on when the fans are running and it has like RGB lights and stuff. But this one, there is no RGB light.
She's low key.
Yeah, it's low key, so we'll have to actually plug in the monitor to see if we get a signal or not. Power cable in. Portable monitor. HDMI cable into the graphics card.
Not the motherboard.
Flip the switch on the power supply. 3, 2, 1. We got a signal.